My name is Ellen. I am 21 years old from Ottawa, Canada. I always knew that I am not a regular girl in many aspects. From childhood, I was very active, always full of energy, and very curious about everything. My favorite toys were cars and toy pistols, and I felt much comfier in the company of boys in my school. When I was young, I preferred to play war games with boys instead of playing with other girls and dolls. Sometimes I would come home with bruises and torn clothes because I would get in a fight with boys over some childish nonsense. Sometimes I thought I should have been born a boy, not a girl. My parents always tried to get me interested in some girlish things and send me to dancing or even needlework school. I chose to go to the wrestling school instead. That was much more my thing. As a teenager, I was still trying to get myself into some martial arts. I was learning karate, aikido, boxing, and even freestyle wrestling. I also occupied myself with swimming. By the time I became 18 years old, I developed a strong physical shape and was still full of energy and ready for something new. Along with that, I was a beautiful girl, and I was always attracted to boys. They surrounded me in school and were trying to pick on me all the time. I knew that girls hated me for that reason. But they were also afraid of me because they knew I was much stronger than them, and they couldn't touch me. So they tried to become friends with me, but I never made friends with them. I found much more in common with high school students. People could never understand why such a beautiful girl with long black hair and a perfect body would never date anyone. I just made friends with guys always and was not interested in anything else. After I graduated from school, I had to make some serious choices. On the one hand, my parents wanted me to go to study at college and get a higher education. Like many other parents, they wanted me to become a qualified lawyer or doctor. However, I had a couple of good offers from modeling agencies, the dream of almost all the girls on the planet. But not me. I wanted something else, something completely different. But what I decided to do next is where my story gets really interesting. What I decided to do next shocked my poor parents and everyone close to me. But hey, this is my life. And as an adult person, only I should take responsibility for my own life. I love my parents a lot, but I didn't want to live with them anymore and be under their control. I wanted to become independent and move on in this life on my own. Also, I wanted to work on my self-development, build my self-confidence, grow and mature as a person. And for all these reasons, I decided to join the military. That was what I needed and what I wanted. As soon as I came up with this idea, I sent my request to the Canadian Army. And not long after I turned 19 years old, I was sent to the Combat Training Center in Ontario. I was warned I would be the only woman in the men's camp. And of course, I knew all the bad stories about women having trouble with men in the military, and that some of them even stayed traumatized for the rest of their life. I was told many such stories to convince me and to change my mind. Well, it didn't work. The fire inside me and my strong nature were pushing me and made me realize I wanted to serve my country. So I joined the Army. And here's what happened. The first couple months were tough. The regime in the military is brutal, and I had to get used to it. Our days started at 5 a.m. and ended at 10 p.m. Each day consisted of physical training, marching, classes, and practical sessions on various military subjects. And the evenings were not exciting either. For example, maintaining my equipment and living quarters, and preparing for the next day's activities. Society's stereotype of the weaker sex doesn't work there, where women are absolutely equal with men. But I knew it from the beginning, and I knew what I was going for. It's nothing like taking sunbaths in the Canary Islands for sure. It's much better. It's getting such cool skills as weapons firing. Oh, I loved that so much. And marches of various lengths in full combat gear. My favorite physical tasks were scaling on high walls and swimming. I could swim for over 3 hours and still not be tired. Yes, it was not easy, but I am a tough girl in excellent physical shape. So I was doing well there, and our commander liked me as one of the finest soldiers. But he was not the only one who liked me there. You know, there are some certain rules in the military that everyone needs to follow. Though makeup is accepted throughout the military, the regulations demand a natural look. But I didn't use it at all. I just knew there was no need for that. But the guys were still going crazy over me. I was not surprised by that, considering the fact I was the only woman in a man's world. The day I joined the unit, the guys were staring at me like I was some tasty piece of steak. I could almost read the bad thoughts produced inside their shaved heads. I knew I would have to show my strength and ability to stand up for myself as soon as possible, to protect myself from possible harassment. And yeah, soon they all watched me at the training, doing as good as any one of them, maybe even better than some of them. They got the message that I am not a weak girl, and I wasn't sent to the military by some mistake. No one even tried to touch me there. But something terrible actually happened to me once. Let me tell you about it. One day someone got into my barracks room and placed a camera in my bathroom and set it to record. And I noticed it when I already got out of the shower. I didn't know whose job it was, so I took the camera to the senior officer, and he promised me to find out who was the guilty one. But during dinner time, I noticed strange looks from everyone around. I asked some soldier who was sitting next to me, "What's up?" And he told me that everyone in the company office had passed the camera around and saw the video of me without clothes getting in and out of the shower. That made me really angry. I punched the table in the canteen so hard that all the soup jumped out of my plate, and some of it got on the soldiers' faces, who were sitting close to me. Then I left for my room. The next day, I did find out the guilty guy. I went to his room and put him in a headlock and let him know he messed with the wrong girl. Nothing like that ever happened to me again. I became a respected woman in the camp. I am sure that I remained the object of their fantasies, but that was the only thing they could get from me. But to be fair, not all of them were bad guys. Most of the men I served with are fantastic people whom I respect and miss dearly. Later, I even became good friends with a couple of them. But unfortunately, that friendship had to turn into some type of Santa Barbara and didn't last long. Both guys started to show their interest in me by sending love letters to my room and being too nice to me. Though I never replied to them, they would keep trying to get my attention, and it went too far. They began to become jealous and started to fight over me. I had no choice but to cut off friendship with both of them. Since then, I never became close friends with anyone in the barracks. However, I became bored with not having anyone to speak with, so I registered myself on Tinder just to find some friends to chat with, and that's where I met Mary, a 32-year-old beautiful woman from Nevada. The moment I saw her photos, I knew I liked her very much. We spoke daily, and soon we realized we started to have feelings for each other. For the first time in my life, I fell in love with a woman that is 12 years older than me. Crazy how fate works, huh? And guess where I went after my 1 year of military service was over? Straight to Nevada. It's been almost 1 year since Mary and I have been together, and she's the best thing that has happened to me so far. Right now, I'm getting ready to go to college and get that law degree, as my parents wanted, and I now decided I want this too. I don't know what other adventures fate is preparing for me, but I am totally happy at the moment, and that is the most important thing. Don't you agree? Have you ever been in a situation like mine? Are you a tomboy? I would like to hear about it. Sound off in the comments. Tell me your experience. And make sure you subscribe and click the notifications bell so you won't miss cool stories like mine.